Hey everyone, what's up? I just want to show you an automatic sheep farm idea that I came up with a little bit earlier and sort of improved my design on a couple of times. So this plays off the fact that dispensers, when loaded up with shears and given a redstone signal, can actually shear sheep in front of them, right? So how do we exactly measure when to send a signal to this dispenser? Well, this grass block that the sheep is confined to stand on is the only grass block, obviously, that the sheep can eat from. So when a sheep will have no, I guess, wool, it's going to try to eat a grass block underneath it. That's kind of why I have these grass blocks next to this grass block or dirt block it's standing on, not covered, because it needs to be able to spread over to that dirt block over there. Now, when this dirt block becomes a grass block, the sheep will go ahead and try to eat it, and once it eats it, it will notify. Let's break down here. It will notify this observer, right? Which in turn will just send a signal. Let's see if we can see this back here. Yeah, just send a signal one block up over to the dispenser where it will shear the sheep. Now, since we have it confined to a 1x1 space, this also provides the use that all of the wool will just be on this dirt block to collect, right? So how we do that is we play on the fact that you can use a minecart with a hopper right underneath a dirt block to actually grab items from above the dirt block. So I put a minecart for the hopper on a railroad cart on top of an item hopper system, and you can have as many of these lined up as you want. But I just have one here just because it's I really didn't have much in survival to work with. But you line it up here, and it'll collect every piece of any item really, but every piece of wool in theory to this item hopper, right? And then you could stop there and collect the wool right there, but I wanted to make it look a little bit nicer and have it so that I guess the rest of the people on the server were able to just grab the wool that's readily available to them right there and have it all kind of syntactic and ready to go. So I devised a little, let's see if we can break into this thing. Hopefully I don't break anything. Yeah, okay. We should be okay. A little redstone clock and a dropper item elevator, right? So these are just a couple of droppers lined on top of each other. In fact, it all comes back up to this dropper right here underneath the chest. And that's how we're actually routing all of the wool that's collected up to that chest, the wool chest. So how exactly do we notify these droppers, right? Because droppers need a redstone signal to be able to send things. So the way I do it is that I have the wool being hoppered into this first dropper, right? We could probably even see it here. Perfect. It got an item into it, right? So it started this comparator signal, which basically runs to this clock. So as long as this comparator is powered, which means something is inside of here, which we could throw it in there, just some cobblestone, the clock will run. I have this clock then routed into a a redstone torch. This redstone torch is then right on top of, let's see. So this redstone torch is right on top of the block adjacent to the top dropper. So right here, it's powered like right here it should be. Yeah, exactly. So it's right adjacent there. So it's providing power, this clock, to every single dropper in the system. This redstone torch here powers this dropper as well as powering the block on top of it, and thus the dropper on top of this one. So since we're able to power every single dropper here, it'll all create sort of an item elevator. The only thing you have to watch out for is setting a little bit of a delay on the clock. Depending on how many repeaters you use, you have to make sure you set the delays accordingly. So that it doesn't burn the redstone torch out. It'll all send it up to here, just like that with cobblestone, and it's all ready to go for the dropper elevators. Now the final thing to see in this contraption is this little light right here, which is very simple idea. Kind of plays similarly into how we were measuring for that item hopper down there, which is if this light comes on, refill the shears, right? So this is for people that, and myself included, that might not know that the shears need to be refilled, because traditionally, you know, you're not really going to know to check this dispenser until the machine stops working. So just hooked up a little bit of a light. So the way that this works, we have our comparator, which is hooked up to the dispenser via a oak block, which is going to pass its redstone signal through. Now it's going to pass a redstone signal, at least when you're measuring with a comparator, that there are items in the dispenser. This is very similar to how we were able to notify the dropper item elevator how things are supposed to go up and when to send that signal. So since items are in there, the comparator is going to be positive or be lit up. And now all we have to do is figure out how to get it up to this light source over here. Right. So I'm going to put another block. Now this block right here is carrying over the actual signal. I will put a redstone torch and a block on top of that. Now, the redstone torch is powered off because by default redstone torches are, if I take this off, on. So again, this builds off the negation thing that I was saying. So if we actually take this redstone torch away, right, you can see for a second it turns on, but it's automatically negated by the fact that there's items in there. As you can see, the light is off because we have shears inside of there, but if I decided to take all the shears out, say they ran out on their own, the light will come on. And if we simply just load up the shears into our shear chest, the light will go off. It's just a simple way to notify people when certain things are going low. I guess the last thing to do is just see this machine at work. Okay, and that about does it for the automatic sheep farm.